Hey, welcome in. Let the good vibes all begin. Something good is about to happen. Sure. I've been waiting on you. Got a seat with your name. Started with a coffee chat. Now we about to change the game. You got a story worth telling, and I got a room full of ears. So drop whatever you've been holding, get ready because your time is here. Because when real people talking real people, something shifts. When real stories meet real listeners, something lifts. Every Saturday we show up and we bring our best. Show up to Carrie Connects and leave it best. Show up, show up. Something is happening here. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. This is your moment, come near where every story intersects and every heart connects. From a coffee chat to the main stage, just bring who you are. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. Connection is the start. Carrie Connects. Entrepreneurs, voices, friends, where inspiration never ends. You did not come this far just to sit in the back. Everything you walk through, we're getting you ready for that. So step into the light. Let somebody see your face, because the right conversation can change everything in this place. Because real people talk to real people, something shifts. And real stories meet real listeners, something lifts. Every Saturday we show up and we bring our best. Show up to Carrie Connects and leave it bright. Show up, show up. Something is happening here. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. This is your moment, come near where every story intersects and every heart connects. Over coffee chat to the main stage, just bring who you are. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. Connection is the start. We started over coffee just to see if it was real. Yeah, you opened up and showed me everything you feel. Now the world is watching and they say the very best chance. Carrie Connects is where somebody finally cares. Show up, something is happening here. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. This is your moment, come near. Every story intersects and every heart connects. From the coffee chat to the main stage, just be who you are. Carrie Connects. Real conversation, real connection. This is Carrie Connects. Show up.
I absolutely love that intro, if I must say so myself. Happy Saturday, everyone. Hello, family. I love seeing that you all are already in the comment section, engaging and interacting with one another. That is what this is all about. So I am Coach Carrie Willis, financial coach, business mentor with great finances, and Carrie Connects is where I introduce you to people I think that you should know. I always say that we are 1 degree of separation from somebody that could change the trajectory of our life. And this is where we allow that to take place. So Carrie Connects is sponsored by Great Finances, where we help individuals and families gain financial clarity, protect what they're building, and prepare for the future by making informed financial decisions with a licensed professional coach. Now, with that being said, I want to let you know that August is National Wellness Month. And today we are, I'm so excited. I can't even get it out. But okay, here we go. Today we're talking about something that affects every woman, if she lives long enough, But somehow a whole lot of us get there and nobody's explained to us what is happening to our bodies. Now, many of you know my mother passed away at the age of 39. Her birthday was yesterday. So happy heavenly birthday, Mom, forever 39. But listen, she didn't get into this space and I didn't get to have these conversations with her. So I'm always grateful when there is somebody else that I can have these conversations with. So today's topic, your body is talking. But are you listening? And family, we are live. So talk to us in the comments, ask questions, tell us what you're thinking. We're going to have a lot of audience engagement. So I want to bring my guest up onto the stage. Now let me try this. Okay, I'm going to add this to the stage first. Okay, get into it. I did that right. And then I'm going to add Lisa. And I just want to say, Lisa, I'm trying, girl. I'm a one-woman show over here, right? So everybody meet Lisa Feveck RD. She's joining us from Trinidad and Tobago. And Lisa is a menopause dietitian and coach, corporate menopause wellness coach, diabetes educator, transformation coach, and 3-time best-selling co-author. Now, Lisa, before I start telling everybody everything about you, tell us in your own words who you are and what you do. Give us that 1 to 2 sentence intro.
Well, I don't know what's left to say, but hi, everyone. I'm glad to see people in the comment section already. So like you said, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, born, raised, still living here. Can't think of living anywhere else in the world. The Caribbean is just too sweet, man. But yeah, my focus is on women's health issues, specifically perimenopause and menopause, because we don't have enough conversations about it. I know we're seeing it all online, but we're still not having the right conversations about it. Women are still confused about the symptoms and what they can do about it. So I'm happy that people like yourself will bring on these topics and share with the world, because that's what we need to keep doing.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. That is what needs to happen. And similarly to finances, even with menopause, there's just so much misinformation that's
Yes.
floating around on social media. So we need people like us who are credentialed, who are experienced with certain topics to be able to share this. So before we talk about menopause, I really want people to understand your story. Now, Lisa, how does an electrical engineer end up becoming a dietitian and a menopause educator? What happened that changed the direction of your life?
Yeah. So as soon as I left university, I became an electrical engineer. Like my dad, my uncles, both my grandparents, all of them were in that field. So we went to work for the electrical company that supplies electricity for the island. And I had no inkling about being in healthcare. I thought I was going to follow in my family's footsteps and be there until I retire. But I didn't realize at the time that God made me a little more special than the average
Come
person.
on.
So I found out that probably like in my late 30s that I was born with every organ either upside down or not where it's supposed to be. So my heart is shifted a little bit on my right side. My stomach is inverted. My womb is inverted. 1.5 lungs, So like I said, born a little more special, but didn't know it at the time. Was never diagnosed. So when I was working as an engineer, I had to have spinal surgery. I didn't fall or anything, but everything was just got weaker. And it was one of 2 surgeries, and I had to have other surgeries on different parts of my body. Like I said, real special, right? But I was taken from the field where I interacted with people. I saw where my work, I got letters like, thank you for putting streetlights in the area. My daughter feels safe coming home. Or thank you for bringing electricity to my home. My kids can stay up late and do homework. So those are these kind of stories that really motivated me in my job. And when I had my surgery, they moved me to an office job, which was equally important, but it didn't give me the satisfaction that I needed. So I decided to retire medically unfit and sort of left it up to the universe. Okay, what is my next step now? Because many people didn't understand, okay, you're still an engineer, you still have that title, and especially in the Caribbean, you're either a doctor, lawyer, or engineer, right? That's what we're pushing for. And they didn't understand, okay, well, you're making all this money, you're an engineer, why do you want to change jobs? Why are you not finding that satisfaction? But something was just always missing. And I couldn't figure out what it was. I just wasn't happy. I literally felt like the office walls were closing in on me when I went into the office. Back then, we didn't talk about mental health and about that, how that job could affect your health as well. But I just retired and I said, okay, whatever happens next. And it so happened that my doctor, thank God, because doctors don't really do it, but he sent me to a dietitian because I couldn't exercise. I was gaining weight, recovering from surgery. But that dietitian basically gave me a sheet of paper and said, come back in 3 months. Not much explanation. She took some measurements, whatever it was. But I was more confused leaving the office than when I came in. But
Uh-oh.
that experience put me on a path to where I am now because I realized, okay, maybe this is something I can learn for myself. If I can't get help anywhere else, maybe this is something I could learn. And I had to go back to university, go back to classrooms with 19 and 20-year-olds, and I am twice their age sometimes. But I really had to start over and get another degree, internship training, a whole lot of things to become a dietitian. And it was really to help myself because I wasn't getting any help. And then I realized, oh, other people are experiencing the same things I went through. And I don't want that experience for people, especially women. So that is how I made the switch from a job I didn't think I would leave ever to something that's now my passion.
I absolutely love that you are following your passion because a lot of times we have these tests in life and sometimes people feel so overwhelmed, but you turned your test into a testimony. You're turning your pain into profit. And so I absolutely love that. I love to say, turn your mess into a message. And so when we talked before, I know our conversation was back in April, but you told me
Yeah.
that one of your earliest symptoms was a toothache. Now, what was happening in your body that eventually made you realize, because that doesn't really seem related, right? So,
Yeah.
how did you figure out that those things were connected? Because nobody
Yeah.
that I know of would have connected those
No, and
things.
they didn't, and that was the issue. So I had been a dietitian for a while, seeing men, women, children, and getting success, but I still didn't feel like it didn't feel like I was complete. So I went back to university to do my MPhil, and while there, I started getting very strange symptoms. And one of them was a toothache that felt like I needed a root canal. It was that bad. And every time I went to the dentist, he was like, why are you back? Nothing is wrong. We've done x rays. Maybe it's just you're really sensitive. But it felt really bad. But every time I went, I felt like I was going crazy because he had this look like, we've already checked this. What's wrong with you? And then that progressed to heart palpitations, anxiety, hair loss, random
Wow.
pains. And every time I had to go to a different specialist, and they'll be like, nothing is wrong, blood tests are normal, everything looks normal. But it may be stress. Maybe it's you're studying too hard, and that's what's causing it. So here's another prescription. Here's another prescription. And by the 10th prescription, I was like, okay, no, something is wrong. Because by then I figured out what my body was like. I'd had a few surgeries by then. And I was figuring out, and that's when they started to tell me, okay, everything is okay, but by the way, your stomach is inverted. So maybe it's triggering this. By the way, your womb is inverted. So that toothache actually put me on the journey to figure out more about myself. But it also put me on a journey to figure out what was wrong with me because everything was coming back normal. And a lot of research, a lot of research, and then I realized, oh, this may be perimenopause.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I realized, okay, the 40 symptoms they talk about online, it's much more than that.
More than 40?
Yeah, it's over 100.
Oh my goodness
Yeah, the number
gracious.
is about 120. So you can experience 120 symptoms on your journey through menopause. Many of my clients have 50, 60 symptoms at one time.
Let me ask you a question. Now, this is personal. Is irritation
Sure.
one of the symptoms?
Yep.
I knew
I
it
think
because people
you
get
could,
on my nerves right now.
yeah,
Okay, look.
a lot of things you could have tolerated before.
Right?
It feels like I don't have the patience for it anymore. And yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. I love that. Thank you for answering that. So
Sure.
we're gonna. I want to ask the audience a question.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna put it in the comments section for the audience, but I want to know. This may be relative to you. It may be relative to someone that you know. But
Yeah.
what is one of the things that a symptom that nobody really warned you about if you're experiencing perimenopause or menopause or know someone that is? What is one of the symptoms that nobody warned you about? That could be connected to this. We have so many great people in our audience right now. We have Kenneth Dunner. We have Bobby Lee. We have Leanna. We
Hi.
have Marilyn. I was on her podcast yesterday as a guest on her
Oh,
show. And so we have Professor Roxana, Linda Meyer, Leslie
hi.
Flowers, Leah Garcia. And so
Oh,
I'm
wow.
just curious. Hey, Aurora, we have Aurora is on here, Jay Trevetti. So I'm just curious, what is, hey, Ola, what is one of the symptoms, audience, that you felt? We're going to bring your comments back up on the stage later on, but just think about that. Have you ever had that experience where you had a symptom, you really weren't sure what it was, and now all of a sudden it's connected to perimenopause or menopause? What was that symptom? All right, so let's keep this conversation going because we're talking about perimenopause and we're talking about menopause, and this is for women and the men who love them. But I want to clear something up because a lot of people get this wrong.
Yeah.
What is perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause?
Yeah.
Like, what are the differences? Because a lot of people I always hear menopause, but I never hear the peri or the post in front of it. So when somebody says, I'm going through menopause, what's happening? What's the
Yeah.
differences?
So what I say, it's a menopausal journey because it is a journey from most likely in your 30s until you leave this earth. So you're never out of menopause. You never stop having menopause. You're in menopause until you die. So that's the first thing. So
Wait
the
a minute.
first,
Don't go too fast. Now slow down. Time out. Pump the brakes. Okay, say that again.
yeah, we are all in menopause because at the beginning of the show you said if you live long enough.
Yeah.
Most of us, especially women of color, start in their 30s. So the internet likes to
Wow.
talk about being around 51. And I think it's because we don't have enough research. And most research is done on white populations.
Okay.
And these would have been done on white women. So we need to, keep doing the research. But most of us, especially women of color, start in our 30s.
Wow.
And you never leave menopause. You're in menopause until you die. And that's important because we think once we're not experiencing hot flashes or some debilitating symptom, that we can stop taking care of ourselves and go back to normal. But no, we're in menopause until we die, and it's important. So I'll explain these stages, sorry, and you'll understand. So to be defined as in menopause, and menopause actually lasts one day.
One day?
One day.
Audience, did y'all catch that? Okay. Pick up what she putting down. If you don't have pens, crayons, pencils, lipsticks, get you some. Menopause is one day.
Is one.
Okay. Cleared that up.
And it's only because being in healthcare, we need to define things to help us diagnose it. So if you go 12 straight months without having a menstrual cycle, without having your period, the very next day after those 12 months, you're in menopause for one day. And the next day after that, until you die, you're in postmenopause. Right? And
Wow.
before those 12 months, you were in perimenopause because at that time you're still having a period. So whether it's missing months, whether it's heavy, whether it's more than once a month, because I have clients and you see these stories online,
Mm-hmm.
having menstrual cycle more than once in a month. So twice a month they will have it. Whether it's heavy, light, you're missing it. Once you're seeing it still, you're in perimenopause.
Mm-hmm.
For most women, and that's only because of the data we have right now, for most women, perimenopause is the time where they experience the most debilitating symptoms. So that's where we'll get the stories of the hot flashes, the mood swings, the migraines, digestive issues. You go to 12 straight months, and it must be 12 months. So I have had clients that gone 11 months on some days, and then they get their period. We have to start off from day one and count another
What?
12 months, right?
Mm.
Because you're still having it. 12 straight months without a period. Next day after that, menopause for 1 day. The very next day after that, until you die, you're in postmenopause. Now, can you still get a period in that time? Yes. And I would say go talk to your doctor because some spotting could happen. It could be triggered by other things that you need to check. But generally, that's how we define these stages.
That is
And
so
yeah,
informative. Such great information. The clarity, right? That's what this show is about. And I
yeah.
always tell people confusion is expensive, but clarity
Oh, yeah.
pays for life. And so learning this information, whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, I just think it's absolutely important information. I saw something in the comments that I thought was funny from one of the gentlemen in the audience. I don't know if I can find it again. Um, Oh, here it is.
Was it
You know
Kenny?
Kenny. Yep, you know it was. He said so many people get on his nerves, and he know he's not perimenopausal or premenopausal. But that's hilarious because
Yeah,
men
that's
and women have hormones, so it's really important to be able to identify and clarify what's going on with your body, even if you're a man. It may not be this conversation, but hopefully
yeah,
this conversation encourages you to go to your professional doctors and
yeah,
find out
indeed.
if there is anything that is going on with you. And
Yeah.
so
And
I
as
just think that's important.
he mentioned the word premenopause. Now, he probably meant perimenopause, but
Yes,
we'll
yes,
see
yes.
premenopause coming up. So premenopause, it's pre means before. So it's before your menstrual cycle. So that's when you're having your normal puberty, your normal cycle.
Okay.
So you might see that premenopause come up. It's not part of the menopausal journey. That's your normal everyday cycles where you're getting your PMS, your mood swings or whatever, but you're still having a regular period, a regular cycle.
Okay. Okay.
And I
So
want
if
to see
that's the
something real quick
case,
ahead. Something came in and it went right back out, Croft.
uh-oh.
It'll come back in.
Well, if he comes back, make sure you let us know about it
Yeah,
because this is a great conversation. I want to know why are so many women walking around in perimenopause and they have no clue. Are they waiting for the hot flash?
yeah, I
Because
think so.
I don't
I
know.
think
I
so.
feel like this is something we should start teaching in middle school.
Yeah. And because PMS symptoms are similar to menopausal symptoms, because in PMS you get the mood swings, you get irritability, you get maybe hungry at sometimes and nauseous at others. So it's very similar symptoms, migraines, everything. So you may think you're still having those symptoms and not in perimenopause yet. And because we talk so much about hot flashes, with a lot of women are waiting for that, not realizing maybe the joint pain they're having, or they're more constipated, or nauseous, or their blood sugars have gone up. And this is where I wanted to talk about postmenopause, because many women were waiting for that cycle to end so we don't have to buy tampons anymore, or we could wear the white clothes. We don't have to worry about things happening. But when we're still having our cycle, it means we still have some estrogen. And estrogen is the main hormone that controls many um, processes in our body. So the reason why we get all these symptoms is because estrogen is the messenger. It goes to different parts of your body and tells it what to do. So it deals with temperature regulation, digestion, mood swings, everything. So if you don't have enough of those messengers, the body parts start to go haywire and does what it wants. So yes, on one hand, we're looking forward to not having that cycle anymore. But once we don't have that cycle anymore, when post-menopause, this is where things like heart disease becomes a concern, right? So cardiovascular disease, cardio means heart, vascular means blood vessels. So heart attacks, strokes, heart palpitations, all of those things shoot up, and the risk for heart disease goes up higher than a man's risk once we're in menopause, especially post-menopause, because we don't have that estrogen anymore to tell the body parts what to do. Our blood
Wow.
sugars go up and become very unregulated. So many women, once they start their menopausal journey, become diabetic, haven't changed their diets, they're still exercising, right? So they haven't done anything to trigger it in the way we know. So they haven't like started eating more unhealthy foods or anything like that, but they become diabetic. Osteoporosis is another concern. So once we're in post-menopause, we're not having the cycle again, very low on estrogen, things like diabetes, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, osteoporosis is of greatest concern. So that's where I tend to also focus, because I know women may come to me and say, these hot flashes are really bad, or I can't sleep, or I am moody all the time. 1 minute I'm happy, and the very next minute I can be in a rage because my husband is breathing too loudly. And now I want to divorce him. And I've had clients say that, ready for
I
divorce
believe
because
it.
he's breathing too loudly. I can't take it anymore. And they're not realizing this is the hormones that's doing that. But of greater concern is my longevity, my quality of life. Am I going to see my children grow up? Because all these risk factors have now gone up exponentially.
That is such great information. I want to just have some more conversation with the audience,
Mhm.
but I love that you are talking about this because a lot of times we don't know what that we're even experiencing
Yeah,
symptoms. Some we've gotten so accustomed to things are just a way of life.
yeah.
And so I want the audience, if you would, to put in the comment sections, were you ever taught anything about perimenopause before you started experiencing it? Yes or no? So if you have experienced this or anything about menopause in general, were you ever taught anything about this? Because I know that I didn't get any education growing up. Of course, I lost my mom young. I have sisters, I have aunts, I have cousins, but this is just not something that we had conversations about. We didn't have conversations about these types of things at all. And
Yeah.
so I'm just looking to see. Marilyn says that she wasn't aware that women experience menopause as early as their 30s, right?
Yeah, and I think it's most women that are experiencing in their 30s. I think within the next few years, the research will catch up to what we in the healthcare system are experiencing, talking to our clients. Most of us are starting in our 30s.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really, really, really interesting. And I know we're going to bring this conversation up later, so I'm going to save that
Yeah.
comment. Um, somebody says, should we run to the gym? Be honest.
No, actually, sometimes going to the gym makes it worse because it puts extra stress on your body. So if you're accustomed to going to the gym, fine, stick to your routine. But I wouldn't just run to the gym and start going on the treadmill, right? Strength training is more important, resistance training. Cardio is important, definitely, but also things like yoga, meditation, those relaxing techniques, because stress is a big factor. So it should be a combination of things. But if you have a gym instructor and you're comfortable in the gym, by all means. I know many women, when they start menopause, because they're so self conscious, confidence dips. Gym may not be the best place to start. And I like to tell people the University of YouTube is something that's very underutilized. You find an instructor or program that works for you. And many women need to start very slow because of the joint pain. So find online instructors. And these are some of the things that I give to my clients. I can't
Okay.
do everything, but I will tell them, listen, this person online does really good yoga. This is someone I you can try this person. If it doesn't work for you, because not every instructor will speak to you, or
Yeah.
you'll see, okay, this is the person for me, and that's okay. There are millions of them online. You just find one that works for you. But I won't tell people run to the gym if you've never gone there. That's not what you're accustomed doing.
I appreciate that response because that means, are you saying I ain't got to run to the gym? Look.
Now, this is not to do physical activity.
Oh, man. No.
But you can stay in your
Right.
kitchen. Let's say you're brewing a cup of coffee. You can get some heavy cans and do some lifts,
Yes.
right? You can push off against a kitchen counter and do some push ups. You can do some squats, or you can just do some deep breathing. If you're rushing around and you're finding yourself anxious to get out the door, while you're waiting for the coffee, just doing some deep breathing can do wonders for the rest of the day and how you experience those menopausal symptoms.
That is such great information. And I know you all can't see the comments over on Instagram, but Lady T, she says that she was getting an odd feeling in her hip area at times. And then Dr. J, who is also on here, Dr. Janelle, he's a medical doctor turned financial professional. His wife is a nurse, also turned financial professional, and he's listening in the audience as well. And so I just think it's such a great conversation. I love seeing all of the different industries. People are interested in this information. If you have daughters, you need to be listening to this
Yeah.
conversation. If you're a woman of any age, you need to be listening to this conversation. If you're a man who have women in your life, you need to be listening to this conversation because it's really not something that we learn about in school at all. I just
No.
didn't learn about this. And even as a teacher for 20 plus years, well, I didn't teach health, but this is not
Mhm.
something that students were having conversations about
And
at all.
also, doctors don't have this information because it's not part of the syllabus. So you have to specialize to do. So even gynecologists, they may touch on it, but to say to know that there are over 100 symptoms, they don't know that. So
Wow.
to diagnose their clients, if they're not familiar with it or they haven't done extra research, most times women get misdiagnosed, or sometimes not even heard or acknowledged because we're thinking, okay, maybe it's just stress, maybe it's just depression, where that may be the surface symptom, but what's going on underneath is an issue. And one other thing I forgot to mention, so those stages that I talked about, perimenopause, menopause being one day, and postmenopause, that is the natural occurrence. That's natural menopause. There's surgical menopause. So I know you had a question in it lower down. If you've had a total hysterectomy, so you're removing ovaries and uterus, you're straight into menopause. There's no stages, no. After the surgery, you're right away in menopause. But even if you've had a partial hysterectomy, so it's just your uterus you've removed and you have your ovaries still, technically, if you have your ovaries still, you shouldn't experience menopausal symptoms because you still have the organs that will produce the estrogen and the progesterone. Most women I've talked to experience hot flashes right away. So even if you've had a partial hysterectomy, I would say consider yourself being in menopause because to expect those symptoms and to start taking steps to make yourself ease those symptoms. Also, if you're having breast cancer treatments, so you've been diagnosed with breast cancer and you're having life-saving treatments, that pushes you, not even pushes, shoves your body into menopause because it's that drastic. And the hot
Wow.
flashes women experience when having breast cancer treatments can sometimes be really, really harsh on the body because it's in a weaker state because you need those treatments, right? I'm not telling anybody not to do those life-saving treatments. If you're in stage 4 cancer, you can't talk to me about nutrition only. You have to have those treatments, right? But understand if you're having those treatments, more than like you're going into menopause.
That's such great information. And I hope that people are taking notes. Hope you all share this conversation because it's such valuable information. So I want to talk about hot flashes again because a lot of times, not only are people dealing with other things, like you mentioned with the cancer, and maybe you already have diabetes, or maybe you don't
Yeah.
even know which stage of menopause you're in.
Hmm.
And a lot of people really believe that hot flashes was menopause. Like the terms were really being used interchangeably for
Yeah.
all stages of menopause. And I know that Leah is saying before she met you, she thought that was the only symptom. And
Yeah.
I'll just say that hot flashes seem to get almost all of the attention, right? So,
Yeah.
what are some other symptoms that women probably don't even think to associate with menopause, with perimenopause? I know you mentioned a few of them earlier, but how does a woman know if something might be hormonal versus something she just might need to get evaluated?
Yeah. So, and we use the term perimenopause and menopause. So we don't really say postmenopause because menopause is one day. We just sort of lump the two of them together. So even though we say perimenopause and menopause, understand that it's really three stages, menopause being one day. But I think women, to answer your question, we really wouldn't know you're in menopause because if you're having thyroid issues, you could have similar symptoms. So this is where putting yourself first and getting those checks become important. Many women, because we were having a conversation, I think back in April, about why don't women know they're in menopause? It's because we're running around taking care of everybody else and
Yes.
putting ourselves last. Whether it's family members, whether it's aging parents, because we have a term, the sandwich generation. We're taking care of children and aging parents at the same time. Whether it's work commitments, church commitments, whatever it is, we're taking care of everyone else first. And if we get sick, okay, we'll go to the doctor sometime this week. And then that becomes next week. And then that becomes next month. Even our own self-care, we put off going to the hairdresser to take care of someone else. And every time we do that and we push our symptoms down and we just push through and push through, a lot of times it compounds. And many times I have people saying their husbands are the ones that told them, okay, no, something is going on. Let's take a break and get it checked. Because we're not taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of everyone else. So what I would say is one, stop and start writing down things you're noticing. So I saw someone, I think you brought it up, said that they had a pain in their hip that they weren't sure what was going on. I would write that down. Every morning when I get up, I'm having this pain. It lasts for an hour. If you're having digestive issues, heartburn, a pain in your ear, whatever it is, start writing it down and put as much information as possible. It's in the morning or the evening. How long does it last? Does it happen when I wake up? Does it happen after I eat? After I exercise? Put as much information as possible. That way, one, you can track what's going on because you know we're always going to forget seeing about everybody else, right? So, but you could track it and realize, okay, no, there's an actual pattern here. Every time I go to the gym, the next day for a week, I feel really bad. So maybe I need to ease up on the gym or change the routine. And the second thing is the doctor tends to pay more attention to what you're saying if you have written evidence. So it's not that most of us want to dismiss you, but we have so many patients to see. If you just tell us, sometimes I notice this, that, we'll be like, okay, take this prescription. But if you bring written evidence saying, listen, every time I eat, after an hour, I feel nauseous, that triggers in us, okay, maybe it's this, maybe we need to do this test. It gives us more information. So the first thing is start writing things down, start noticing what's going on with you and paying attention to it in a real way so that the next time you have your doctor's visit, and I know it's different depending on if I have insurance or if I have to use the company's medical checks, but whatever it is, start writing things down so that we know, okay, maybe actually isn't menopause. Maybe it's your thyroid we need to check first. Because if you're still having a menstrual cycle, it's very hard for us to test for menopause. Many times we test for the hormones, and estrogen and progesterone come back as the normal range. But you've gone when it's fluctuating and it's on a high. So we don't really test for menopause, but we rule everything else out. But if you walk with information, it makes us know where to start looking.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, let me check these comments, okay? Because I know you all have
Yeah, I'm
something to
seeing a
say
lot.
about this. And so I love that Leslie says that frustration often holds the key indicator for change. You know, just talking about how we were talking about the irritability.
Yeah.
And that's a sign, you know, that maybe some things need to be adjusted. It could be
Yeah.
mentally, but it could also definitely be physically. What would you
Yeah.
say to that?
Oh, definitely. And it goes back to those indicators. If we're paying more attention to ourselves, we'll know which direction to go or who to ask for help. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know you were talking about there are different types of treatments, but that full evaluation and sometimes getting a second opinion is really important because
Yeah.
some it might feel like to the patient that we're just getting these pills pushed on us, as Marilyn is saying.
Yeah.
Most doctors, I believe, they want to do their best, but sometimes a second opinion is necessary. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. And so I'm not sure how it is in the States. I've seen shows on television,
Yeah.
but when you look out into the waiting room is full of patients. I only have 8 hours in a day. And we haven't talking about, okay, I need my self care. I need to take a break. I need to go to the washroom. I need time to eat. So I don't have 15 minutes to spend to find out and pull from you the information I need. So
Yeah.
this is where writing things down it becomes important because I could just hand you the information and you could quickly look at it and know, okay, this is triggering. Okay, this makes sense. Let me give you these tests to go instead of giving you the medication first. Let me make sure what's going on. But if you're just telling me I'm anxious or I'm depressed, the easiest thing for me is to give you medication because at the end of the day, I want you to feel better.
Right.
And the fastest thing for me to do is to give you a prescription and see how it works. When you come back next 3 months, we could discuss it again.
Yeah.
But giving me information, a journal, whether it's on your phone, a piece of paper, doesn't matter. Giving me more information will help me know, okay, actually, yeah, I can give you medication, but I know exactly what I'm giving it for. So don't take away that I'm against medication. And in fact, hormone replacement therapy, the medication that gives you back those hormones, is the best solution for menopausal symptoms, hands down. But it works better if you have a good foundation. So, working on your nutrition, working on physical activity, working on your mindset, reducing stress, all of those things actually help the medication work better, not just for menopause, for everything. So, I'm not saying not to take the medication because sometimes if you're depressed, medication can help. And if you're feeling better, I will eat better. I will feel to go exercise. So don't take it that I'm against medication. But what I'm saying is, in most cases, it shouldn't be the first option. And to prevent that, if you give me information, I know what tests to do, or I know which medication will work better for you.
Absolutely. I think those are all great points. And this is really interesting because we talked about the dental
Yeah.
office visits and having tooth pain. And Aurora is saying the tooth lost.
Yeah.
She lost 3 teeth.
Yeah. So I talked about uncontrolled blood sugars. That affects your dental health, that affects your heart health. So, yeah, we're seeing more people having more cavities or having to have tooth extractions because they've entered into menopause.
Wow.
So, I would say to this person, maybe if you haven't had your blood sugars checked, to go get it checked because it
Yeah.
may be a
Oh, I was just agreeing with you. I was saying absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. These are definitely things that you want to make sure,
Yeah.
that you get taken care of. And one symptom may show that maybe it has nothing at all to do with menopause at this time, but it could be diabetes or it could be
It could be
something that's
something else.
heart related.
Yes.
Absolutely. So definitely I agree. Go and get checked because you just never know. And you want to
Yeah.
make sure that you're taking care of your health, making sure that you're doing everything that you can possibly do so that you have longevity and live your best life.
Hmm.
Now, I'm saying that in general, right? But I know that you focus particularly on women of color. What
Yeah.
does the existing research tell us? You mentioned that it affects us earlier in our 30s, but what doesn't it tell us about women of color and menopause?
Well, honestly, we don't know. We don't have a clue what it means for women of color. And for us in the Caribbean, especially in Trinidad and Tobago, it's not just black or white or brown. We have mixed races. So I am mixed with six different ethnicities. How does menopause affect me versus someone like you? We just don't know. But what we
Right.
do know right now is that women of color start about 10 years earlier and can experience menopausal symptoms 10 years earlier than Caucasian women. Women of color experience more debilitating hot flashes. Women of color are more risk prone to heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure. So if you have that right now and you're going into menopause, those things become more of a concern.
Wow.
And I
And
think you were, I don't think I answered your earlier question about the symptoms that you could experience. What I tell women, start from the top of your head, work your way down to the bottom of your feet. Anything and everything that could go wrong with that body part happens in menopause.
oh my goodness
So,
gracious.
top of your head, you could lose hair, it could get brittle, migraines, general pains, and this is where like the brain fog and forgetfulness, anything that could happen with the brain. Itchy ears, itchy eyes, dry eyes, blurry eyes. Like I said, anything and everything that you could think could go wrong with that body part happens in menopause. So yeah, it's literally on over 100 symptoms.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I love that you made the comment. You said that you were six different ethnicities, and then you said someone like me. And I think that's so important because even though I identify as African American, I'm multi ethnic as well. And so
Right.
it's really important that if you don't know what your ethnicities are, you probably don't know how it can impact you. And I think that's why getting those DNA results in are so important if you don't know your family history, even if you do know it, because there may be some surprises in there for you. So I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. So you're in Trinidad and Tobago.
Mhm.
How does culture and ethnicity and climate and access to health care, how does that affect the menopause experience for women who are Caribbean?
Yeah. So right now we are having really bad heat spells, and I know different parts of the world are having the same things right now. But in the Caribbean, we're getting the full brunt of the heat.
Oh,
So the way we experience hot flashes could be very different to someone, let's say in Canada, where it's mostly cool all the time, right? So
yeah.
depending on where you are in the world, your experience with menopause can be very different. Or you may have a hot flash and feel it's like a 4 out of 10, and I will feel it like an 11 out of 10, just from the temperature. Or it could be triggered more often. So we may feel it at the same level, but you're having it once a day, and I'm having it 5 times a day because of the heat.
That is
So yeah,
so powerful
not fun.
because not fun at all. And when you said the heat, I was thinking, oh my God, I lived in Las Vegas, Nevada for 14 years, and sometimes it was 115,
Yeah, I know
118,
it gets hot out there.
120 degrees
Yeah,
outside. And so that's very, very, very telling. So I
yeah.
want to ask the audience real quick, where are you guys watching from? Our Caribbean family and the diaspora, put your country and your city in the comments section, because I'm living right now in Northwest Indiana, dealing with all types of tornadoes and the impact thereof. But I want to know, where are you guys watching from? Because different cultures are impacted differently. So drop where you're watching from, put your country or your city in the comment section. That would be greatly appreciated, just so that we know where our audience is from. I know we have some people on here in Texas, North Carolina, the Caribbeans, Indiana. I saw my friend on there from Indiana. But what do you wish healthcare professionals outside of the Caribbean understood about Caribbean women?
I think it just goes back to paying attention and listening more. But I also understand that the system has to change to allow doctors that time. So I know in private practice, they may allow themselves more time, they could schedule it differently. But if you're in the public healthcare system and you have a room filled with people to see, that can be really, really challenging. But if the system could set it up where doctors knew more about menopause going in, they would know what to look for, or maybe what tests to do, or what to rule out. And Caribbean women of color, right now it's kind of similar. So understanding that we start earlier on our menopausal journey, understanding that what we have access to healthcare wise might be different. The information might be different. Depending on what state you're in, it could be vastly different.
Yes.
What you experience, because you talked about tornadoes. So that's a mental stressor. So how I talk to you about menopause could be very different to someone in the Caribbean who has physical stressors. So the temperature will be a problem. So what I suggest, especially as a menopause coach, what I tell you to try or what we experiment with could be vastly different, although we're experiencing the same menopausal journey. So the foods I may suggest, the type of stress relievers I could suggest could be vastly different, because you are unique. You're coming in with, I like to tell clients, you're a book and you're filled with chapters. What chapter are you in right now? And okay, right now I'm newly diagnosed with diabetes. I have uncontrolled blood sugars right now. So maybe the type of fruit we eat right now is a little different until we get the medication to settle, because it takes about 3 months with most medications for the body to say, okay, let me work with the medication and get it right. And we still have to check, okay, maybe this isn't the right medication for you. Let's switch the dosage or switch the type. So it takes a while. But maybe we don't eat all the types of fruits we want to eat, we ate before. Maybe we eat more fiber. Maybe we walk after we have a meal, something we didn't do before, until we go to our next chapter where things have settled down, the medication is working better. Now we could reintroduce certain things. Or now maybe the dose of medication could drop because we've worked with our bodies, worked with a proper coach. So not putting that stress on ourselves, taking it one day at a time, but giving ourselves the best opportunity for things. So making sure you are practicing any type of stress reliever you can, depending on where you are, using as much healthy foods, plant-based foods, depending on where you are, because not everyone has the same access, the same funds, whatever it is, but we could work with you depending on what your situation is. And just give yourself grace. Okay, right now I'm in this chapter. We're working on ourselves and we'll move to the next chapter after, and it's okay.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And as we're getting ready to close out, I just have a few more comments that are really, really interesting. Felipe wants to say hi. Hey, Felipe. So he's enjoying the conversation. And I love that Douglas Friend, who's my near neighbor, says that this is an excellent topic for his high school health and wellness classes for females and males. They touch bases on it, but it's so much more that can be covered. And
So
what
much.
would you say to that?
And some men experience male menopause. and get
Oh.
exactly the same symptoms. So they will get hot flashes, they will have mood swings. But for men, it's a lot easier to test for because I can go 1 month and test my testosterone level, go the next month and I've seen it's drop because it drops very linearly, and okay, I need some testosterone replacement therapy. But it means being not afraid to check because we know for men, getting them to go to the doctor is a challenge on its own to get any sort of checkup, right? But again, working with your partner, working with your brother, working with your colleague. Hey, I've noticed you are XYZ. Have you considered going to the company doctor to get a check? Or
Mm-hmm.
let's go, partner, let's both go get a checkup because it's overdue.
Absolutely. And then this comment from the audience. The first Aurora says the first time I really talked about menopause with other women was last year when I went on a girls trip to celebrate a friend's 50th birthday. And since all 12 of us are around the age of 50, but none of us knew half of what they heard there. So for example, they never heard that migraines was a symptom.
Yeah. Like I said, anything that could go wrong, getting
Mm-hmm.
more colds and flus, anything to do with the digestive system, but also the emotional side, more anxiety. So anxiety driving late at night or driving by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
forgetting how to get home. I've had clients call and they can't remember which taxi to take or the route home, and they've done it forever. Depression, even suicidal thoughts become
Wow.
more apparent on your menopausal journey. So this is where talking to your friends, talking to your girlfriends, not being afraid to share, talking to your pastor, whatever it is, whatever medium you think it's convenient or you're comfortable with. And there are a lot of online groups as well. So if
Mm-hmm.
you don't think anyone in your family could understand, tap into those online groups because many women share freely and they don't know each other.
Absolutely. I love that. Now, I know we're getting close to the end, but I have so many questions. So I'm just going to try and ask this question because we talked about nutrition. Now, if you all don't know, I'm a friend to the end. When people are loyal to me, I'm loyal to them. But I'm also, I don't want to say I'm a stalker, but I'll be on Lisa's page, okay? And Lisa always has these great recipes. Sweet potatoes, that's one of our favorite. Avocados is another one of our
Yeah.
favorites that I see on her page. But I remember you telling me that nutrition was the foundation. But the other part that I love is that you don't give women advice in a vacuum. So how
Okay.
do you balance like what might be nutritionally ideal? I heard you talk about like if you're diabetic, you may have to watch your fruit intake. But also the socioeconomic environment of where people are living. So
Right.
how do you balance that between what you can realistically afford, what you can actually access, and what
Mhm.
you can actually incorporate into your life when it comes to nutrition? Like, what are some simple changes that women can make without completely changing how their families eat?
Yeah. And this is where I don't operate the same way as many of my colleagues do. So I don't do diet sheets. I'm
Okay.
not going to hand you a template to do anything. I must have a conversation with you. We must
Mm-hmm.
do certain blood tests because I can't know if you're deficient in vitamin D. And most of us are walking around deficient in vitamin D because most of us are inside working. And vitamin D affects so many of our functions in our body.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
know the internet loves to talk about protein. Get more
Yeah.
protein, get more protein is definitely important. Of bigger importance is fiber. When you look worldwide, diabetes, heart disease, certain types of cancer, hypertension, the reason
Mm.
why these things are so high is because we're not eating enough fiber. We're not dying from protein, we're dying from a lack of fiber. So those are your
Wow.
plant-based foods, fruits, vegetables, peas, beans, nuts, seeds, your whole grain foods, ground provisions, oats. You talked about sweet potatoes. So I look at where you are in the world, what you have access to. How do you go to shop? Do you have to take 3 cars to get to your supermarket? Do you have to walk up 5 flights of stairs? So that means I can't tell you to shop for certain things. We have to break it up. You don't, not many of us can shop at a Whole Foods because it's expensive. But maybe we have a local farmer's market we could tap into. So we really look at where you are, what you have access to, what your current diet is like. We do some blood tests to figure out, okay, maybe you're deficient in certain things depending on the symptoms you're showing. And we come up with a plan, and that plan isn't static. We try it for a couple of weeks. Okay, what do we need to tweak? What are you finding it difficult doing? So if you're finding it difficult to drink more water, okay, maybe let's do some cold brews where we put some tea bags in there, some flavored tea bags. Maybe that helps. Or maybe adding some fruit or some basil leaves or mint will help you drink more water. We find ways that will work to you. And for the diabetic part, it's not that you can't have fruit. It's just some fruit may trigger that blood spike right now.
Right.
So maybe, so we live in the Caribbean, mango season is upon us. But we love our mangoes. And diabetics sometimes forget one mangoes you're serving, not a bucket.
Right.
Right? You
Right.
can't eat the bucket of mangoes because your blood sugar will go all over the place. Right? So we need
Absolutely.
to adjust. And maybe mangoes aren't the best thing for you right now because you're still uncontrolled. Let's leave it for next month. Let's really hone in and drop those blood sugars, get those numbers back to normal, get our bodies accustomed to our lifestyle, and then reintroduce things. So it depends on what you have access to, what you are, where your story is right now. Going back to that book and chapter. What is your chapter right now? How we could move to the next chapter comfortably. Because I always believe no stress, comfort, food shouldn't stress you out. Enough things in this life stress us out.
Right.
Food shouldn't be one of them.
That is so true. And Lisa, I absolutely love this conversation. Tell everybody how they can connect with you, how they can learn more about your work and your menomorphosis. I have dropped all of her links in the comment section across every single platform, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm going to be dropping it on YouTube and Substack. And so just make sure that you are connecting with her. But let us know how we can get in touch with you. And if you have anything coming up that you want us to support, because you're doing some really great work that supports menopause and women's health. And definitely we should be having more conversations about this.
Yeah. So if you're on LinkedIn, you can just search for my name, Lisa Feveck. Leave a comment on one of my newsletters. I do a newsletter every Wednesday on some aspect of menopause. Send me a DM on what your concerns are. If you're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, just search for Lisa, your menopause dietitian, and I will come up.
All right. I love that. So family, make sure you connect with Lisa. And if something that she said made you think of another woman, make sure you share this conversation. Just click the share button. Lisa, I want to thank you so much for joining me for the Carrie Connects podcast. It has really, really, really been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for having this conversation.
Yes, thank you. I really appreciate it. All right, so we are going to get this thing all wrapped up. That was such a great, I always run out of time. I always go over. I'm trying to get better, but thank you so much for hanging out with us today. If you are catching the replay, you're not late. It's still time to keep this conversation going in the comments. Let us know what was your biggest takeaway from today. And if you know somebody that needs to hear this conversation, make sure you share this conversation. And remember, Carrie Connects is sponsored by Great Finances, where we help individuals, families, entrepreneurs to gain financial clarity, protect what they're building, prepare for the future, and make informed financial decisions. So I am Coach Carrie, and this is why I do Carrie Connects, because you might be one introduction away from the person, the resource, the idea, or the opportunity that changes the trajectory of your personal or professional life. My job is to do the introduction. All right. Your job is to do the connection. So I'll see you next time on Carrie Connects. Bye, family.
Hey, welcome in. Let the good vibes all begin. Something good is about to happen. Sure. I've been waiting on you. Got a seat with your name. Started with a coffee chat. Now we about to change the game. You got a story worth telling, and I got a room full of ears. So drop whatever you've been holding. Get ready because your time is here. Because when real people talking real people, something shifts. When real stories meet real listeners, something lifts. Every Saturday we show up and we bring our best. Show up to Carrie Connects and leave it there. Show up. Something is happening here. Carrie Connects. Carrie Connects. This is your moment. Come near where every story intersects and every heart connects. From a coffee chat to the main stage, just bring who you are. Carrie Connects. Carrie Connects. Connection is the start. Carrie Connects. Entrepreneurs, boisterous friends, where inspiration never ends. You did not come this far just to sit in the back. Everything you are through, we're getting you ready for that. So step into the light. Let somebody see your face, because the right conversation can change everything in this place. When real people talk to real people, something shifts. And real stories meet real listeners, something lifts. Every Saturday we show up and we bring our best. Show up to Carrie Connects and leave it right. Show up. Something is happening here. Carrie Connects. Carrie Connects. This is your moment. Come near where every story intersects and every heart connects. So the coffee chat to the main stage, just bring who you are. Carrie Connects. Carrie Connects. And that should make the start. We started over coffee just to see if it was real. Yeah, you opened up and showed me everything you feel.